Hello, everyone. We want to welcome to another edition of the Coach Farrington Show. Coach, how are you doing this morning?
Doing great. Good to see you.
Good to see you. It's always a lot more fun to do these games when we come out with a win, and we had a big win on Saturday.
Yes, it is. I will admit that. So we were glad and to get that win.
Yep. Weather usually doesn't play a factor here in the South, but we had an unusual cold front come in, and you look at the backdrop of the mountains out there, and there's snow everywhere. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, I took the dog out. I couldn't believe the snow on the ground where I am, 30 miles from here in Simpsonville. And then, so, it's colder up here because we have our own weather system up here. Usually it's 10 degrees colder here than it is anywhere else in the upstate. And the wind's blowing like 35 miles an hour. So I'm sure that was a challenge for our guys on Saturday.
It was. It was a little bit different atmosphere as far as with the weather. But our guys in there very good. Didn't use it as a distraction. But that wind was blowing,
yes,
and it was definitely different when you were moving away from the field house versus moving toward it.
Yeah. Well, last week we talked about special teams, and you were saying that you had a lot of freshmen on special teams. The first time they've been in a uniform in front of a big crowd, and man, we had a game where we were up 10-0 in the first quarter. And then we go down, we give up 14 points in the second quarter, go into halftime behind 14-10, and I was getting a little nervous. I said, man, we played so well. I said, I just want us to go ahead and stay ahead. And out of nowhere, that block punt comes, and you got two freshmen. One blocks the punt. Roderick McCray blocks the punt, and then freshman Dalton Pilgrim picks it up and runs it in. Man, what an exciting play for two young freshmen. That had to be a shot of adrenaline for the team.
Oh, that was a huge momentum swing play. And we've talked about it, being able in special teams to make game-changing plays. And we've been close with some returns, or we might have a hold or a block in the back or kickoff coverage, and we might get out of a lane, or even on punt return. As far as a big return or maybe even a block. We were able to get our hands on a couple of balls the first ball game against Ave Maria. And, of course, you gotta get stops on third down to get the punt team out there. So we opportunity arose, and Rod did a great job, did what he's coached, and got his hands down and took it off that foot, and then Dalton Pilgrim was right there.
Johnny on the
spot.
spot.
Up and get in that end zone. So that was huge.
Yeah. I'm a former player, and my coaches always said you can't worry about things you can't control. It seemed going into that point that Wingate had momentum. Everything was going the Bulldogs' way, especially the home crowd. If people watching this who were there Saturday saw a lot of yellow flags going in the wrong direction if you were a North Greenville fan, and I was frustrated by that. I'm sure some of the players were, but a great play will just erase all of that. And that block punt just put momentum in our favor, and we just took the game from there. I noticed, when you look at the stat line, it doesn't always tell the story of the game, but it looked like we had amazing balance. Offensively, we played well. Defensively, we got interceptions. Tony Gallbuck got an interception. Quantel Mack got an interception. We block a punt. We're 200 on rushing yards. We're 200 on passing yards or more. Talk about the balance of just having all three phases of the game working.
Well, that was good. Good to see. And we did go in at halftime. We were up 10-7. And so they deferred, we deferred on the opening coin toss, and we wanted to take the win, and we did, and we went up 10-0. Then they scored a touchdown, and we ended up going in halftime 10-7. When we come back out, it was our option to get the ball,
yes,
and they have choice to choose which way they're going to kick. They were down by 7 points, so they took kicking to the field house and took the win, which is probably what you do.
Yeah.
Because they were behind, they ended up getting the lead. And we played in the whole third quarter, tried to dig it out, got it down, stalled, maybe a penalty here or there, and and we've got to do better with those penalties. Those will hurt you in those close games. So we've got to get those corrected. But we got the win in the fourth quarter. and the block kick, just the momentum, as you said, it was like bang, instant momentum. Not many times that you block a kick for a touchdown that you lose a game.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to, one of the scores they had in the second half was where they had the wind to their back. It was an absolutely perfect pass between our cornerback and our safety right there. I'm telling you, if they do that play 100 times out of 100, they're not getting that interception. They're not getting that reception for a touchdown. But, that's one of those things that it was just a perfect pass. I think it was a wind-aided pass. I don't think any other day that pass goes through the wind like that, and then he comes up with a catch. But I thought, some of our penalties were we were trying to be aggressive, and if you've had really close games 3 weeks in a row and came out on the losing end, our guys were thinking, we're not losing this game today. It's close. We're going to keep fighting. But I think sometimes younger players have a harder time of just saying, hey, when the whistle blows, try to kind of channel that aggression between the whistles instead of after the whistle.
That's right. And, they're always going to get the second guy. Now,
always.
A couple of times that could have gone either way, and a couple of them were offsetting. But that's part of playing sports and playing athletics is you got to have self-control, and our coaches coach that, and that's one thing we try to emphasize, but a couple of situations we didn't.
Yeah. I think it was an overall great game. Anything that you felt really good about, anything you want to highlight from that game?
Well, special teams was huge. Field position really was a wash. It was amazing that I think I looked it up when the teams were going into the wind, the average field position was like 20 yards for both teams, and when they were going with the wind, the average starting field position was 40 plus. So that was a wash both sides. The difference was obviously we were able to make a play special teams wise. It changed the game, and we were able to run the ball effectively and limit them running the ball effectively. Yeah. Throwing game was going to be limited. They hit the post, we hit a couple, but it was going to be limited just because of the weather. I thought both teams harassed the quarterback, and we were able to get some sacks and made some nice plays on the ball. But the fly of the ball was a little bit different. It wasn't consistent, and so you had to be able to make some plays on the ground, and we ended up able to run the ball for almost 200 yards and limit them under 100. So when you add in those negative yardage plays.
Yeah, I think our running game did very well. It had to, because you're not going to make a living in that kind of wind, throwing into the wind. It's just not possible. Right. The trajectory of the ball changed so much, and trying to adjust to that. We got another game coming up. It's going to be at 1:30. I got this game time. It's going to be at 1:30 at the Catawba Indians place up there in Salisbury, North Carolina. A pretty good team coming in. They're 4-4 overall and 3-2 in the SAC. They're a balanced team. They average 400 yards a game. They run for 200. They pass for 200. What do you want me to tell me about this team coming up and the challenges facing the
They're
Catawba
a handful.
Indians?
Catawba's a handful. Catawba's they're gonna be big, physical, offensively. I'm not sure what they're averaging a game, but it's almost 30 points a game.
Yeah.
They're scoring points on everybody. They had a rough go of it against Mars Hill. I'm sure were prepared to go over and play on Saturday due to the weather and the snow. They delayed the game and had to go over on Sunday. So I'm sure their mindset was not what it would be if they were playing on Saturday, but I know we can expect to see a heck of a Catawba football team come out there and play against us. We're going to need your support and prayers, and we look forward to going up there and getting our last road trip of the year and going there and seeing if we can make some improvement.
Yes, sir. Because they're a really good team in the offense. I looked at their offense. In the red zone, they score 71% of the time, and 58% of those are touchdowns. So they're a good offensive team. But, yeah, like you said, we want a lot of people to come to Salisbury up there and travel with the team. It always helps to have a lot of good home support and try to get our last road victory of the week. Well, Coach, thank you for taking time. I know you got a long week to try to prepare for those guys. It's always tough to cut out time. I want to thank you for that. Also, I want to give a shout-out to Robbie Garas, and he does our producing of our videos and does a really good job. Also, Corey Gwynn, I do a lot of reading of his stuff. It helps me with my preparation. So nobody does a good job alone. It's a team effort on this show. I want to thank everybody that helps out with the show. And thank you, Coach, for taking the time to do it today.
Thank you, Orlando.
That's going to be the end for today's show. And thank you for making the time to watch us at North Greenville University, where Christ makes a difference. We'll see you next week.
Church closed.
No malice.
Shut the homie Malice.
And Lecrae.
Get pushing T. What's up, homie? Let's go.
Lord have mercy and pity on your son. From what I once was to what I have become. Forgive me for my past and the nose is left numb as I'm led down this path to the beat of a different drum.